The 911 emergency system exists to dispatch help during genuine life-threatening situations when people need immediate police, fire, or medical assistance. Operators are trained professionals who coordinate emergency responses to save lives and protect communities during actual crises. But every Halloween, thousands of people call 911 for the absolute dumbest, most non-emergency reasons that waste dispatcher time and block lines for people with real emergencies. 1. A woman in Ohio called 911 because teenagers were trick-or-treating at her house despite her porch light being off. She demanded police come immediately to arrest the children for trespassing on her property. The dispatcher explained that porch lights being off was a suggestion, not a legal boundary. She insisted the teenagers were violating her rights by knocking on her door. Police were dispatched to explain that knocking on doors on Halloween isn't a crime. The officers arrived to find her yelling at children from her doorway. She demanded the kids be charged with harassment for asking for candy. Police explained that Halloween involves children going door to door throughout neighborhoods. She threatened to sue the police department for not protecting her from trick-or-treaters. The call tied up emergency lines for 12 minutes during peak Halloween hours. Dispatchers noted her address for future reference as a frequent non-emergency caller. Her neighbors later said she called police about children every single Halloween for years. 2. A man in Florida dialed 911 because someone was dressed as a clown at a Halloween party he was attending. He reported a dangerous clown terrorizing people at a private residence party. Dispatchers asked if the clown had threatened anyone or committed any crimes. He said the clown was just standing there looking creepy, which scared him. Police explained that wearing a clown costume on Halloween isn't illegal or an emergency. He insisted clowns were dangerous, and this one needed to be removed immediately. Officers were sent to the party finding a hired entertainer in a professional clown costume. The party hosts were furious that police had been called to their private event. The man who called insisted his fear of clowns justified emergency services. Police explained that personal phobias aren't grounds for 911 calls. He was asked to leave the party after causing the unnecessary police response. The clown entertainer filed a complaint about harassment. Dispatchers logged the call as one of the stupidest they'd received that Halloween. 3. A California resident called emergency services because her neighbor's Halloween decorations were too scary for her liking. She reported that the decorations constituted a public safety hazard and emotional distress. The decorations included fake tombstones, plastic skeletons, and cotton spider webs. Dispatchers asked if anything was actually dangerous or posed a physical threat. She claimed the scary decorations were giving her nightmares and anxiety attacks. Police were dispatched and found completely normal Halloween decorations in the neighbor's yard. The neighbor showed officers that nothing violated any ordinances or codes. The caller demanded police force removal of the decorations she personally disliked. Officers explained that Halloween decorations on private property were completely legal. She threatened legal action against the police for not taking her complaint seriously. Her neighbor said this was the third year in a row she'd called police about decorations. The police report noted the decorations were mild compared to most Halloween displays. Dispatchers were frustrated the call blocked lines for over 15 minutes. The caller was warned about misusing 911 for personal grievances. 4. A New York man called 911 because the house giving out full-size candy bars ran out before he got there. He reported theft claiming he was entitled to full-size candy, like earlier trick-or-treaters received. Dispatchers were baffled by the complaint about candy bar sizes. He insisted it was discrimination to give him smaller candy than previous visitors. Police explained that running out of preferred candy isn't a crime or emergency. He demanded officers force the homeowner to go buy more full-size candy bars. The responding officers couldn't believe they were being sent to a candy dispute. The homeowner explained they'd simply run out of the expensive full-size bars. The caller argued he'd walked further than other kids and deserved compensation. Police told him no laws governed candy bar distribution sizes. He threatened to sue the homeowner for false advertising of full-size candy. Officers spent 20 minutes explaining basic concepts about voluntary candy distribution. The call became legendary in the precinct as the dumbest Halloween complaint. Dispatchers noted his phone number to flag future non-emergency calls. 5. A Texas woman dialed emergency services because someone's Halloween costume was offensive to her political views. She reported a hate crime because someone dressed as a politician she disagreed with. Dispatchers asked if any actual crimes or threats had occurred at the party. She insisted that the costume itself constituted harassment and intimidation. Police arrived to find a satirical political costume at a private adult Halloween party. The costume wearer was protected by free speech rights for political expression. She demanded the person be arrested for wearing something she found personally offensive. Officers explained that offensive costumes aren't illegal absent specific threats or actions. She argued her emotional distress from the costume justified police intervention. The party host asked her to leave for calling police over a costume. Police spent 30 minutes explaining First Amendment rights and appropriate 911 use. She filed a formal complaint against the officers for not arresting the costume wearer. The call log described it as a complete waste of emergency resources. Her social media posts about the incident were widely mocked online. Dispatchers were annoyed that real emergencies couldn't get through during her extended complaint. 6. An Illinois resident called 911 reporting a home invasion when trick-or-treaters rang the doorbell multiple times. She described an aggressive group attempting to break into her home. Dispatchers sent officers expecting a serious burglary in progress. Police arrived with weapons drawn expecting actual home invaders. They found 5 children under age 10 in princess and superhero costumes. The caller insisted the persistent doorbell ringing constituted forced entry attempts. Officers explained that children ringing doorbells for candy isn't breaking and entering. She claimed she felt threatened by the children's continued knocking. The children's parents were understandably upset by the police response. Police apologized to the families for the unnecessary scare. The caller was cited for misuse of emergency services after the incident. Her 911 call had pulled officers from actual emergencies across town. The children were traumatized by seeing police arrive with guns drawn. Dispatchers were furious about the dangerous situation created by the false report. The local news covered the story as an example of 911 misuse. Her neighbors circulated warnings to avoid her house on future Halloweens. 7. A Georgia man called emergency services because a haunted house attraction was actually scary as advertised. He demanded police shut down the haunted house for being too frightening. Dispatchers asked if he'd been injured or threatened with actual harm. He said he was just scared, which he claimed violated consumer protection laws. Police explained that haunted houses are supposed to be scary on Halloween. He insisted false advertising existed because it was scarier than he'd expected. Officers arrived at the haunted house finding a properly licensed seasonal attraction. The operators showed permits and waivers signed by all visitors, including the caller. He demanded refund and compensation for emotional trauma from being scared. Police explained he'd voluntarily paid to enter a place designed to frighten people. The haunted house staff were baffled someone called police for being scared at a scary attraction. He threatened lawsuits against the haunted house and police department. Officers spent an hour explaining personal responsibility and reasonable expectations. The haunted house added warnings specifically about calling 911 to their entrance signs. The caller was mocked on social media after the story spread. Dispatchers noted the call as an example of absurd entitlement. 8. A Washington woman dialed 911 because neighborhood kids were wearing costumes from movies she hadn't seen yet, containing spoilers. She reported harassment, claiming the costumes revealed plot details she wanted to avoid. Dispatchers were confused about how costumes could constitute an emergency. She insisted spoiling movies was a form of assault on her entertainment experience. Police were sent to a neighborhood Halloween event, finding children in current movie costumes. She pointed out costumes revealing plot elements and character deaths. Officers explained that wearing costumes from popular media wasn't illegal. She demanded police confiscate the costumes to protect others from spoilers. The parents of costume-wearing children were angry about the police involvement. Police spent considerable time explaining that spoiler avoidance isn't a legal right. She argued online culture recognized spoilers as serious offenses. Officers suggested she avoid Halloween events if she was behind on popular movies. The incident was shared widely as an example of ridiculous entitlement. Dispatchers added notes to her file about wasting emergency resources. Her complaint about movie spoiler costumes became a running joke in the department. 9. A Pennsylvania man called emergency services because someone gave his child an apple instead of candy for Halloween. He reported poisoning, claiming the healthy snack was suspicious and potentially deadly. Dispatchers asked if there was evidence of tampering or actual poison. He insisted that giving fruit on Halloween was inherently suspicious behavior. Police arrived and inspected a completely normal, sealed, store-bought apple. The neighbor explained they offered healthy alternatives for kids with allergies. The caller demanded the neighbor be arrested for distributing non-candy items. Officers explained that giving out apples wasn't illegal or evidence of poisoning. He claimed everyone knows apples on Halloween are dangerous despite no evidence. Police tested the apple, finding it was just a regular grocery store purchase. The neighbor was upset by accusations of attempting to poison children. Officers lectured the caller about making false reports and wasting resources. He defended his call, saying media reports about tampered Halloween treats justified suspicion. Police explained those reports were largely urban legends without statistical support. The apple-giving neighbor stopped participating in Halloween after the harassment. Dispatchers noted the call as paranoid overreaction to harmless fruit. 10. A Michigan woman dialed 911 because she saw someone in a realistic zombie costume that she thought was an actual zombie. She reported an undead creature wandering through her neighborhood attacking people. Dispatchers tried to explain zombies aren't real, but she insisted on immediate response. Multiple police units were dispatched expecting a violent assault in progress. Officers arrived to find a teenager in elaborate zombie makeup for Halloween. The caller insisted the makeup was too realistic to be just a costume. Police explained special effects makeup for Halloween costumes. She argued the person moved like a real zombie, not an actor. Officers demonstrated the teenager was a living person, not undead. She claimed police were covering up a zombie incident. The teenager's parents were furious about their son being reported to police. The caller's neighbors confirmed she legitimately believed in zombies. Police suggested psychiatric evaluation, but she refused. The incident report described the caller as unable to distinguish reality from fiction. Dispatchers joked about the zombie call for weeks afterward. The teenager won a costume contest that night for the realistic makeup. Local news covered the story as an example of Halloween hysteria. 11. An Arizona resident called emergency services because trick-or-treaters kept saying trick or treat instead of please. She reported that rude children were demanding candy without proper manners. Dispatchers explained this wasn't a police matter or actual rudeness. She insisted that demanding candy without saying please constituted harassment. Police were sent to explain that trick or treat is the traditional Halloween phrase. She argued children should be taught proper etiquette before going door to door. Officers explained they couldn't enforce politeness standards on children. She demanded police give citations to parents of impolite children. The responding officers were stunned by the complaint about traditional Halloween greetings. She provided a list of children who'd failed to say please when receiving candy. Police explained their job wasn't teaching children table manners. She threatened to file complaints against officers for not taking etiquette seriously. The call lasted over 20 minutes, discussing Halloween tradition versus her personal standards. Other neighbors said her house was known for lecturing children about politeness. Dispatchers flagged her number as a chronic non-emergency caller. The local community shared the story as an example of ridiculous complaints. 12. A Colorado man called 911 because someone was wearing the same costume as him at a Halloween party. He reported identity theft, claiming the matching costume violated his uniqueness. Dispatchers tried to explain that costume similarity isn't a crime. He insisted that wearing matching costumes without coordination was costume plagiarism. Police arrived at a party where two people were dressed as the same popular character. The other costume wearer had independently chosen the same idea. The caller demanded police force the other person to change costumes immediately. Officers explained that multiple people could wear the same costume legally. He argued he'd spent more money and effort on his version. Police suggested this was a social issue, not a criminal matter. He threatened to sue the other party guest for copying his idea. The party host asked the caller to leave for summoning police over costumes. Officers spent significant time explaining intellectual property doesn't apply to costume choices. The other costume wearer found the entire situation hilarious. Dispatchers noted the call as one of the most petty complaints they'd received. Social media posts about the incident mocked the caller's entitlement. His demand for costume uniqueness became a local joke. 13. A Louisiana woman dialed emergency services because her neighbors were playing Monster Mash too loudly on Halloween night. She reported a noise violation during prime Halloween hours. Dispatchers noted that Halloween night typically had relaxed noise enforcement. She insisted the song was repetitive and driving her insane. Police arrived finding music at reasonable volumes for a holiday celebration. The neighbors were hosting a family-friendly Halloween party. She demanded police confiscate the sound system and arrest the hosts. Officers explained the noise levels were acceptable, especially on Halloween. She claimed the specific song Monster Mash was particularly offensive to her. Police used a decibel meter showing sound levels within legal limits. She argued that any music she personally disliked should be illegal. Officers suggested she close her windows or use earphones if bothered. She threatened legal action against police for not stopping the music. The neighbors said she called police about parties regularly. Dispatchers noted she'd called about noise on every major holiday. The officer's report described the complaint as frivolous and retaliatory. Her reputation in the neighborhood was defined by constant complaints. Local residents avoided interaction with her after multiple police calls. 14. A Massachusetts man called 911 because a store sold out of the specific Halloween candy he wanted to give out. He reported a supply shortage emergency requiring immediate government intervention. Dispatchers explained that stores running out of products isn't an emergency. He insisted that not having his preferred candy ruined Halloween. Police explained they couldn't force stores to stock specific products. He demanded officers escort him to other stores until he found his candy. The responding officers were baffled by the candy shopping assistance request. He argued his tax dollars paid for services including helping him shop. Police explained their role didn't include personal shopping assistance. He threatened to file complaints about lack of customer service from police. Officers spent time explaining appropriate versus inappropriate 911 use. He remained convinced this constituted an emergency worthy of police response. The store manager confirmed they'd simply sold out of a popular item. Dispatchers logged the call as an example of entitlement and confusion. His extended emergency call blocked lines during actual emergencies. Police eventually left while he continued complaining about candy selection. The incident became training material for handling absurd non-emergency calls. 15. A Tennessee woman called emergency services because someone carved a pumpkin in a design she found personally offensive. She reported vandalism and hate speech carved into a jack-o'-lantern. Dispatchers asked what specifically was offensive about the carved pumpkin. She described a traditional scary face that she interpreted as threatening. Police arrived finding a completely normal Halloween pumpkin carving. The pumpkin featured standard jack-o'-lantern triangular eyes and jagged mouth. She insisted the expression was directed at her specifically. Officers explained pumpkins aren't capable of targeting individuals. She demanded the neighbor be forced to carve a friendlier face. Police explained they couldn't regulate pumpkin carving designs. She photographed the pumpkin as evidence of harassment. Officers documented that the pumpkin was unremarkable and traditional. She threatened civil rights lawsuits over the pumpkin's expression. The neighbor was annoyed by police presence over their Halloween decoration. Dispatchers noted the caller seemed to have persecution complex. The pumpkin remained displayed despite her complaints. Local news picked up the story as a bizarre Halloween complaint. Her neighbors avoided placing any decorations visible from her property. 16. A North Carolina man dialed 911 because his adult children refused to take him trick-or-treating with them. He reported elder abuse and abandonment by his family. Dispatchers asked if he was in danger or needed medical attention. He insisted being excluded from trick-or-treating violated his rights. Police arrived finding a 50-year-old man demanding to go door-to-door for candy. His adult children explained he was embarrassing them with the 911 call. He argued that age limits on trick-or-treating were discriminatory. Officers explained there were no laws requiring adults to take their parents trick-or-treating. He demanded police force his children to include him in their plans. The children were understandably frustrated by the police involvement. Police suggested he attend adult Halloween parties instead. He insisted nothing was fun except traditional neighborhood trick-or-treating. Officers spent considerable time explaining that adults going door-to-door for candy was unusual. He threatened to report his children to Adult Protective Services. Dispatchers noted this was a family dispute, not a police matter. His children said this happened every Halloween with escalating complaints. The call tied up emergency lines during peak hours. His extended family stopped visiting during holidays to avoid drama. 17. An Oregon woman called emergency services because a Halloween store was sold out of her size in the costume she wanted. She reported discrimination, claiming size-based bias in costume availability. Dispatchers explained retail stock issues aren't discrimination or emergencies. She insisted being unable to buy her preferred costume violated her civil rights. Police were sent to a Halloween store during busy October shopping season. The store manager explained popular costumes sell out in certain sizes quickly. She demanded police force the store to manufacture her size immediately. Officers explained supply and demand aren't police matters. She argued stores should maintain infinite inventory of all sizes. Police suggested ordering online or choosing a different costume. She refused alternatives, insisting only one specific costume was acceptable. Officers spent 30 minutes explaining retail operations and reasonable expectations. She threatened lawsuits against the store and police department. The store staff were frustrated by police presence over inventory issues. Dispatchers noted the caller seemed to believe police could solve any inconvenience. Her demand for immediate costume manufacturing was obviously impossible. The incident exemplified misunderstanding police roles and responsibilities. Other customers at the store complained about the unnecessary police presence. Her social media posts about the incident were universally mocked online. 18. A Virginia man called 911 because a haunted corn maze was too confusing and he couldn't find his way out. He reported being trapped and possibly held against his will. Dispatchers sent emergency responders expecting a kidnapping situation. Police and rescue teams arrived at a seasonal corn maze attraction. Staff were guiding the caller out of the maze when emergency services arrived. He insisted the maze difficulty constituted false imprisonment. Officers explained corn mazes are designed to be challenging. He demanded the attraction be shut down for being too complicated. The maze operators showed clearly marked emergency exit signs throughout. He claimed the signs weren't obvious enough for his navigation skills. Police explained that difficulty escaping a corn maze isn't criminal. He argued emotional distress from being lost justified the 911 call. The operators noted he'd been in the maze only 15 minutes. Officers lectured him about appropriate emergency services use. He defended the call, claiming he was genuinely scared of being lost. Dispatchers were frustrated the call pulled resources from actual emergencies. The corn maze added warnings about calling 911 to their entrance. His friends abandoned him at the maze after the embarrassing police response. Social media mocked his inability to navigate a family-friendly attraction. Emergency responders joked about the maze rescue for the entire season. 19. A Wisconsin woman dialed emergency services because a neighbor's inflatable Halloween decoration deflated and she found it suspicious. She reported possible sabotage or vandalism requiring investigation. Dispatchers asked if she'd witnessed any actual crime or damage. She insisted the timing of the deflation seemed intentional and threatening. Police arrived finding a Halloween decoration with an obvious air leak. The decoration had simply developed a small hole causing gradual deflation. She demanded forensic analysis to determine if puncturing was deliberate. Officers explained worn decorations developing leaks was normal. She argued the deflation timing right after she'd walked by seemed coordinated. Police examined the decoration, finding natural wear causing the leak. She insisted police dust for fingerprints on the inflatable decoration. Officers explained investigating decoration deflation wasn't priority police work. She threatened complaints about inadequate investigation of her vandalism report. The neighbor said the decoration was old and had leaked before. Dispatchers logged the call as paranoid overreaction to normal wear. She continued calling weekly about various neighbor activities she found suspicious. Police eventually stopped responding to her non-emergency calls. Her neighbors avoided interaction to prevent future police reports. The deflated decoration incident became local folklore about ridiculous complaints. 20. A Minnesota man called 911 because he thought someone drugged his Halloween candy with vegetables. He reported poisoning after biting into candy containing nuts or fruit. Dispatchers asked about symptoms or evidence of actual tampering. He insisted that candy containing healthy ingredients was obviously poisoned. Police arrived and examined candy bars with nuts and fruit pieces. The candy were standard commercial products from the store. He demanded police arrest whoever gave him candy with nutritional value. Officers explained candy bars often contain nuts, caramel, and fruit ingredients. He argued Halloween candy should be pure sugar without healthy components. Police read candy wrapper ingredients showing nuts and fruit were advertised. He insisted this violated Halloween traditions of unhealthy treats. Officers suggested reading labels before eating if he avoided certain ingredients. He demanded compensation for the trauma of unexpected healthy candy. Police explained legitimate candy from stores wasn't poisoning. Dispatchers noted the caller seemed to have odd food paranoia. His extended emergency call about candy ingredients tied up lines. The incident report described confusion about commercial candy composition. Local residents shared the story as an example of nutritional ignorance. His neighbors stopped giving him candy on future Halloweens. 21. A Missouri woman called emergency services because someone handed out pennies instead of candy for Halloween. She reported counterfeiting and financial fraud. Dispatchers asked if the pennies were fake or stolen. She insisted giving money on Halloween instead of candy was suspicious. Police arrived and examined completely legitimate U.S. pennies. The neighbor explained they'd run out of candy and gave coins instead. She demanded police arrest the neighbor for not following Halloween traditions. Officers explained giving pennies wasn't illegal or fraudulent. She argued children expected candy, not money on Halloween. Police suggested pennies had a monetary value unlike candy. She insisted the pennies were an insult to trick-or-treaters. Officers spent time explaining voluntary Halloween participation rules. She threatened to report the neighbor to federal authorities. The neighbor was frustrated by accusations of financial crimes. Dispatchers noted giving money instead of candy wasn't criminal. Her children actually liked getting money more than candy. The incident highlighted unrealistic expectations about Halloween obligations. Police advised the neighbor to ignore future complaints. Her reputation for frivolous police calls was well established. Local parents warned kids to skip her house entirely. 22. A Kansas man dialed 911 because a Halloween party continued past his personal bedtime. He reported a noise complaint at 9:30 p.m. on Halloween Saturday night. Dispatchers noted the early time and holiday context. He insisted any noise after 9 p.m. violated his sleep schedule. Police arrived finding a moderate volume party following all ordinances. The party hosts had permits and were within legal noise limits. He demanded police end the party because he wanted to sleep. Officers explained noise ordinances allowed events until much later hours. He argued his personal schedule should override legal allowances. Police suggested earplugs or closing windows if sensitive to sound. He insisted everyone should accommodate his early bedtime preference. Officers explained neighbors weren't required to plan around his sleep schedule. He threatened lawsuits over the noise he personally found disruptive. The party guests were annoyed by police presence over reasonable noise. Dispatchers noted the caller's expectations were unrealistic for Saturday night. His history of early evening noise complaints filled multiple reports. Police eventually stopped responding to his frequent frivolous calls. His neighbors actively avoided him after multiple police incidents. The early bedtime complaint became a neighborhood joke. His reputation prevented any friendly relations with surrounding residents. 23. An Indiana woman called emergency services because someone's Halloween costume made their child cry in fear. She reported assault and terroristic threatening by costume wearer. Dispatchers asked if any physical contact or threats occurred. She insisted a scary costume directed at children constituted assault. Police arrived at a neighborhood Halloween event, finding costume wearers. The scary costume was a werewolf at an event specifically for Halloween. She demanded the costume wearer be arrested for frightening her child. Officers explained wearing costumes on Halloween wasn't illegal. She argued knowingly scaring children should be criminal behavior. Police noted Halloween traditions include mildly scary costumes. She insisted her child's fear justified removing the costume wearer. Officers explained personal reactions to costumes aren't grounds for arrest. She threatened to sue the costume wearer for emotional distress. The werewolf costume wearer was a teenager volunteering at the event. Dispatchers logged the complaint as unrealistic parenting expectations. Her demand that no costumes be scary on Halloween baffled officers. Other parents at the event defended the costume as appropriate. Police spent excessive time explaining Halloween costume norms. Her overprotective parenting style was noted by other families. The teenager's parents considered legal action for false accusations. Event organizers banned her from future Halloween activities. 24. A South Carolina man called 911 because his neighbor's black cat walked across his path on Halloween. He reported witchcraft and supernatural threats against him. Dispatchers tried to explain cats walking aren't emergencies. He insisted black cats on Halloween indicated curses or evil magic. Police were sent expecting a mental health crisis. Officers arrived finding a normal domestic cat belonging to neighbor. He demanded police remove the cat for supernatural reasons. Officers explained cats walking outside wasn't illegal or magical. He insisted Halloween timing made the cat encounter suspicious. Police confirmed the cat was a regular pet, not a witch's familiar. He demanded protection from the curse he believed was cast. Officers suggested speaking with mental health professionals. He argued police should take supernatural threats seriously. The cat's owner was offended by accusations of witchcraft. Dispatchers noted possible delusions requiring psychiatric evaluation. His insistence on magical thinking concerned responding officers. Police documented the incident as non-emergency mental health issue. He continued calling about the cat throughout the month. Animal control confirmed the cat posed no threat. His belief in Halloween curses prevented rational discussion. Neighbors avoided him after the supernatural accusations. Mental health services were offered but refused. 25. A Nevada woman dialed emergency services because a store's Halloween section made her uncomfortable with scary imagery. She reported a hostile shopping environment requiring intervention. Dispatchers asked if she'd been threatened or unable to leave the store. She insisted scary decorations created an unsafe shopping experience. Police arrived at a store with normal seasonal Halloween displays. The decorations included plastic skeletons, fake spiders, and pumpkins. She demanded police force the store to remove frightening merchandise. Officers explained stores could display seasonal items freely. She argued her discomfort should override the store's display choices. Police suggested shopping at stores without Halloween sections. She insisted this store should accommodate her sensitivities. Officers explained she could simply avoid that section. She threatened discrimination lawsuits over Halloween decorations. Store management was frustrated by police presence over displays. Dispatchers noted the complaint showed unrealistic expectations about retail. Her demand to sanitize Halloween displays was obviously unreasonable. Other customers defended the store's right to sell seasonal items. Police spent unnecessary time explaining personal responsibility and shopping choices. She was asked to leave after disrupting store operations. Her complaint generated no changes to store policies. Social media mocked her inability to handle Halloween decorations. 26. An Alabama man called 911 because someone gave out toothbrushes instead of candy for Halloween. He reported child abuse and endangerment by the toothbrush giver. Dispatchers questioned how toothbrushes constituted abuse. He insisted dental hygiene items on Halloween traumatized children. Police arrived and confirmed the neighbor gave out toothbrushes. The neighbor explained they promoted dental health to neighborhood kids. He demanded arrest for distributing non-candy items. Officers explained giving toothbrushes wasn't illegal or abusive. He argued children had expectations of candy, not hygiene products. Police noted oral health items were actually beneficial. He insisted the disappointment caused emotional damage to kids. Officers explained Halloween participation was voluntary, not mandatory. She threatened to report the neighbor to child services. The toothbrush giver defended their right to give out what they chose. Dispatchers logged the complaint as absurd overreaction. His children would benefit from the toothbrushes long term. The incident highlighted entitlement about free Halloween items. Police advised the neighbor they'd done nothing wrong. His reputation for ridiculous complaints was reinforced. Local dentists praised the neighbor for promoting oral health. His children were embarrassed by their father's overreaction. 27. A Connecticut woman called emergency services because a pumpkin spice product didn't taste pumpkin-y enough to her. She reported false advertising and consumer fraud. Dispatchers explained product taste preferences weren't emergencies. She insisted the lack of pumpkin flavor constituted criminal deception. Police arrived at a coffee shop finding a seasonal drink dispute. The drink met all advertising claims and ingredient listings. She demanded police test the drink for actual pumpkin content. Officers explained taste preferences weren't criminal matters. She argued seasonal marketing created binding promises about flavor. Police suggested speaking with management, not emergency services. She insisted police should enforce truth in advertising. Officers explained civil consumer complaints had separate processes. She demanded immediate refund and compensation enforced by police. The coffee shop offered refund, which she rejected as insufficient. Dispatchers noted the misuse of emergency services for consumer complaints. Her demand for police involvement in taste disputes was absurd. Other customers were annoyed by the police presence. Police left after explaining this wasn't their jurisdiction. She continued complaining on social media about police inaction. Her complaint became a viral example of entitlement. Local businesses warned staff about her potential complaints. The incident highlighted confusion about police responsibilities. 28, an Iowa man dialed 911 because a costume store refused his return of a used costume after Halloween. He reported theft, claiming the no-return policy was illegal. Dispatchers explained retail return policies weren't criminal matters. He insisted being unable to return costumes violated consumer rights. Police were sent to a business dispute at a costume shop. The store policy clearly stated no returns on used costumes. He demanded police force acceptance of his worn costume return. Officers explained stores could set their own return policies. He argued wearing the costume once shouldn't disqualify returns. Police noted hygiene concerns about accepting worn costumes. He insisted his satisfaction guaranteed return privileges. Officers explained no such universal guarantee existed. She threatened lawsuits and complaints against the store. Store management showed posted return policies throughout shop. Dispatchers logged the complaint as misunderstanding retail operations. His expectation of returning used costumes was unreasonable. Police spent time explaining private business rights. He refused to leave without police forcing the return. Officers eventually escorted him from the store. His behavior got him banned from the costume shop. Social media shared the incident as entitled "Customer Behavior." Future costume purchases would require different stores. 29, a Maryland woman called emergency services because her adult son refused to go trick-or-treating with her grandchildren. She reported child neglect for not taking kids for candy. Dispatchers asked if children were in danger or unsupervised. She insisted not trick-or-treating constituted neglect. Police arrived, finding a family disagreement about Halloween plans. The son had work commitments preventing trick-or-treating. She demanded police force him to take time off work. Officers explained parenting decisions weren't police matters. She argued Halloween participation was mandatory parenting. Police noted many families celebrate differently, or not at all. She insisted her grandchildren's candy collection was essential. Officers explained this was a family issue, not criminal. She threatened to report her son to child services. The son was frustrated by his mother's police involvement. Dispatchers noted this was family drama, not emergency. Her expectation of police enforcing Halloween plans was absurd. The grandchildren were embarrassed by their grandmother's call. Police left after confirming children were safe and cared for. She continued calling police about family disagreements regularly. Her family limited contact after repeated police incidents. The trick-or-treating dispute damaged family relationships. 30. A Montana man called 911 because a scarecrow decoration appeared to move when he walked by it. He reported a possible break-in or squatter living in decoration. Dispatchers sent officers expecting a trespassing situation. Police arrived finding a scarecrow that moved in the wind. He insisted human movement, not wind, caused the motion. Officers explained lightweight decorations move with air currents. He demanded police search the scarecrow for hidden people. Police examined the decoration, finding it was just straw and clothing. He argued the realistic movement proved something suspicious. Officers demonstrated how wind moved the flexible decoration. He insisted his initial perception was correct despite evidence. Police spent unnecessary time proving the obvious explanation. He demanded 24-hour surveillance of the suspicious scarecrow. Officers explained they couldn't monitor lawn decorations. She threatened complaints about inadequate investigation. The decoration's owner was annoyed by the accusation. Dispatchers logged the call as paranoid misinterpretation. His insistence on animate decorations concerned police. Neighbors avoided placing decorations visible to his property. His reputation for paranoid calls was well established. Mental health evaluation was suggested but declined. The scarecrow incident became a neighborhood joke. 31. A New Jersey woman dialed emergency services because someone carved a better pumpkin than hers at a neighborhood contest. She reported sabotage, claiming her pumpkin was tampered with. Dispatchers asked for evidence of actual vandalism. She insisted her pumpkin being inferior proved tampering. Police arrived at a community Halloween pumpkin carving contest. Her pumpkin was intact and showed no signs of damage. She demanded investigation into how competitors cheated. Officers explained some people had better carving skills naturally. She argued superior pumpkins indicated unfair advantages. Police examined all pumpkins, finding no evidence of cheating. She insisted police disqualify better entries. Officers explained this was a community event, not police jurisdiction. She threatened lawsuits over the allegedly rigged contest. Contest organizers were frustrated by accusations of impropriety. Dispatchers noted the complaint showed poor sportsmanship. Her inability to accept losing gracefully was obvious. Police left after confirming no crimes occurred. She continued protesting the results on social media. Other participants avoided future events she attended. Her reputation for bad sportsmanship preceded her. The pumpkin carving accusation became local legend. 32. A Hawaii man called 911 because a tiki torch at a Halloween party reminded him of controversy from news events. He reported hate symbols requiring immediate response. Dispatchers asked if threats or intimidation had occurred. He insisted tiki torches had become hate symbols. Police arrived at a luau-themed Halloween party. The tiki torches were standard tropical party decorations. He demanded police confiscate the torches as threatening symbols. Officers explained context mattered for ordinary items. He argued recent events had permanently changed tiki torch meaning. Police noted this was a Hawaiian-themed party using traditional decor. He insisted his interpretation should override the host's intentions. Officers explained ordinary party supplies weren't hateful. She threatened civil rights complaints about the torches. Party hosts were baffled by accusations of hatred. Dispatchers logged the complaint as misinterpretation of context. His conflation of news events with party decorations was unreasonable. Police left after confirming no actual threats existed. He was asked to leave the party for calling police. His social media posts about the incident were ridiculed. Future party invitations excluded him. The tiki torch complaint became an example of overreaction. Context and intention mattered more than his personal associations. 33. An Arkansas woman called emergency services because a Halloween parade blocked her usual driving route temporarily. She reported illegal road obstruction requiring immediate clearing. Dispatchers explained permitted parades legally close roads. She insisted her right to drive over road parade permits. Police were managing traffic for the permitted Halloween parade. She demanded police end the parade so she could drive through. Officers explained parade permits allowed temporary road closures. She argued her inconvenience justified stopping the community event. Police suggested alternate routes around the parade. She refused detours, insisting on her usual path. Officers explained community events occasionally required flexibility. She threatened lawsuits over the temporary inconvenience. Parade organizers had obtained proper permits weeks earlier. Dispatchers noted the entitled attitude toward community events. Her demand to end a parade for personal convenience was absurd. Police refused to shut down the legal permitted event. She attempted to drive through anyway, creating danger. Officers cited her for reckless driving and ignoring road closures. Her actions delayed the parade and endangered participants. Social media condemned her selfish behavior. The parade incident destroyed her community reputation. Future events included extra barriers to prevent similar incidents. 34. A Vermont man dialed 911 because a haunted hayride was too bumpy for his comfort. He reported reckless driving and safety violations. Dispatchers asked if injuries had occurred. He insisted the rough ride constituted assault. Police arrived at a seasonal hayride attraction. The ride traveled over deliberately bumpy terrain as advertised. He demanded arrest of the tractor driver for reckless operation. Officers explained hayrides on rough terrain were normal. He argued the bumps gave him neck pain. Police noted he'd voluntarily paid for a hayride. She insisted warnings about bumpy terrain were inadequate. Officers examined the clearly posted warnings and waivers. He demanded compensation for his discomfort. Police explained civil complaints were separate from emergency services. Dispatchers logged the complaint as frivolous. His expectation of smooth hayrides showed poor understanding. The attraction operator was frustrated by false accusations. Police confirmed all safety regulations were followed. He threatened lawsuits and negative reviews. Social media mocked his complaint about a hayride being bumpy. The attraction added explicit warnings about terrain. His demand for compensation went nowhere legally. 35. A Delaware woman called emergency services because a store employee said "Happy Halloween" instead of neutral greeting. She reported religious discrimination for the holiday greeting. Dispatchers explained holiday greetings weren't discrimination. She insisted being exposed to Halloween greetings violated her beliefs. Police arrived at a retail store during Halloween season. The employee had offered a standard seasonal greeting. She demanded the employee be fired for religious insensitivity. Officers explained Halloween greetings weren't legally problematic. She argued her religious objections should prevent Halloween mentions. Police noted freedom of speech protected holiday greetings. She insisted businesses should avoid all holiday references. Officers explained stores could acknowledge holidays freely. She threatened discrimination lawsuits over the greeting. Store management defended their employees' routine courtesy. Dispatchers noted the complaint showed misunderstanding of discrimination. Her demand for religion-free greetings was unreasonable. Police left after confirming no violations occurred. She posted complaints on social media about persecution. Other customers defended the store and employee. Her reputation for frivolous complaints preceded her. The incident highlighted confusion about religious freedom. Stores couldn't accommodate all individual sensitivities. 36. An Idaho man called 911 because a zombie walk charity event included people dressed as zombies walking near him. He reported a public disturbance and mob activity. Dispatchers explained permitted events weren't disturbances. He insisted groups of zombies constituted threatening behavior. Police were managing the permitted charity zombie walk. Participants were in makeup raising money for charity. He demanded police disperse the zombies immediately. Officers explained this was a legal permitted fundraising event. He argued zombie costumes were inherently threatening. Police showed him the event permit and charity information. She insisted his discomfort justified ending the event. Officers explained his personal reactions didn't override permits. He threatened lawsuits over emotional distress from zombies. Event organizers were frustrated by disruption attempts. Dispatchers logged the complaint as opposition to permitted activities. His demand to stop a charity event was selfish. Police refused to interfere with legal protected activities. He attempted to block zombie marchers, creating danger. Officers warned him about interfering with permitted events. His behavior resulted in him being removed from area. Social media praised the zombie walk charity. His opposition made him locally infamous. The charity event continued successfully despite his interference. 37. A Mississippi woman dialed emergency services because someone's Halloween playlist didn't include songs she liked. She reported a noise violation demanding specific music. Dispatchers explained music selection wasn't criminal or police business. She insisted party hosts should play her preferred songs. Police arrived at a private Halloween party. The music was at legal volumes with proper variety. She demanded police force the DJ to play her requests. Officers explained music choices were up to party hosts. She argued her attendance entitled her to musical input. Police noted she could leave if unhappy with music. She insisted parties should accommodate all guests equally. Officers explained hosting decisions weren't police matters. She threatened to sue over musical discrimination. Party hosts asked her to leave for calling police. Dispatchers noted the absurd entitlement to control others' parties. Her expectation of musical veto power was unreasonable. Police spent unnecessary time on music preference dispute. She was escorted from the property. Her reputation prevented future party invitations. Social media mocked her music demands. The incident exemplified entitled party guest behavior. Event hosts became more selective about invitations. 38. A Wyoming man called 911 because his wife made him wear a couple's costume he disliked. He reported domestic coercion over costume choice. Dispatchers asked if actual threats or violence occurred. He insisted being forced to coordinate costumes was abusive. Police arrived at a marital disagreement about Halloween plans. His wife had suggested matching costumes for a party. He wanted police to rule the costume requirement unreasonable. Officers explained costume choices were relationship issues, not criminal. She argued forced fashion choices violated his autonomy. Police noted compromise in relationships was normal. He demanded police intervention in the costume dispute. Officers explained they couldn't referee marriage disagreements. She threatened to involve courts over costume autonomy. His wife was embarrassed by the ridiculous police call. Dispatchers logged the complaint as marital drama. His inability to discuss costume choices with his wife was concerning. Police suggested marriage counseling, not legal action. He refused to attend the party without police ruling. Officers left the couple to resolve costume decision. His overreaction damaged marital trust. Social media mocked the couple's costume police call. The incident became a running joke among friends. Marriage counseling was later sought after the embarrassment. 39. A Kentucky woman called emergency services because a pumpkin fell off a neighbor's porch and rolled into her yard. She reported illegal dumping of pumpkin waste. Dispatchers questioned if a rolling pumpkin was an emergency. She insisted the pumpkin crossing property lines was trespassing. Police arrived finding a pumpkin that had rolled naturally. The wind had blown the lightweight decoration into her yard. She demanded police cite the neighbor for pumpkin littering. Officers explained natural movement wasn't illegal dumping. She argued property owners were responsible for their decorations. Police noted she could simply roll it back or ignore it. She insisted police remove the offending pumpkin. Officers suggested resolving this with neighborly conversation. She demanded official documentation of the pumpkin incident. Police declined to write a report about rolling pumpkin. Dispatchers logged the complaint as trivial property dispute. Her overreaction to a pumpkin was absurd. The neighbor apologized and secured their decorations better. She threatened small claims court over the pumpkin trespass. Social media found the pumpkin incident hilarious. Her reputation as difficult neighbor was reinforced. Future neighbors avoided interaction with her entirely. The pumpkin incident became neighborhood folklore. 40. A Louisiana man dialed 911 because a Halloween candy bar contained coconut, which he disliked. He reported food poisoning despite no illness. Dispatchers asked about actual symptoms requiring medical help. He insisted disliking coconut meant he'd been poisoned. Police arrived finding him completely healthy. The candy wrapper clearly listed coconut in ingredients. He demanded arrest of whoever gave coconut candy. Officers explained that candy preferences weren't criminal matters. He argued giving disliked flavors was assault. Police noted he could simply throw away unwanted candy. She insisted his taste preferences should be accommodated. Officers explained candy givers didn't know individual preferences. He demanded compensation for the coconut trauma. Police explained no laws governed candy flavor distribution. Dispatchers noted the complaint was ridiculous overreaction. His expectation of customized candy was unrealistic. The candy giver didn't know his preferences. Police left after confirming no actual harm. He posted social media complaints about coconut assault. Other residents mocked the candy flavor emergency call. His inability to handle coconut in candy was baffling. Future neighbors gave him nothing to avoid complaints. 41. A Nebraska woman called emergency services because a trick-or-treater didn't say thank you after receiving candy. She reported ingratitude and disrespect. Dispatchers explained manners weren't police business. She insisted children should be punished for rudeness. Police explained they couldn't enforce politeness. She demanded officers locate and lecture the rude child. Officers explained this wasn't criminal or their responsibility. She argued social order required politeness enforcement. Police noted parenting was up to actual parents. She insisted her candy distribution entitled her to gratitude. Officers suggested she stop giving candy if bothered. She demanded police implement thank you requirements. Dispatchers logged the complaint as absurd entitlement. Her expectation of police-enforced manners was unreasonable. The child's parents were never located. Police refused to search for impolite trick-or-treaters. She threatened to stop participating in Halloween. Officers encouraged that if she was bothered. Social media mocked her politeness emergency call. Her reputation as complainant was established. Future Halloweens. She turned off lights, avoiding participation. Neighbors were relieved to not hear more complaints. 42. An Alaska man called 911 because he saw someone in a Bigfoot costume and believed it was real. He reported cryptid sighting requiring immediate investigation. Dispatchers tried explaining Bigfoot wasn't real. He insisted the sighting was genuine, not a costume. Police were sent expecting a mental health situation. Officers found a person in an obvious Bigfoot Halloween costume. He insisted the realistic appearance proved it was actual Bigfoot. Police demonstrated the zipper and costume construction. She argued police were covering up cryptid evidence. Officers explained Halloween costumes of mythical creatures were common. He demanded cryptozoology experts investigate the sighting. Police noted no such experts existed in their department. She insisted this proved Bigfoot living in Alaska. Dispatchers coordinated mental health evaluation. His genuine belief in Bigfoot concerned officers. The costume wearer was amused by the confusion. Police documented the incident as delusional episode. He continued insisting Bigfoot was real. Social media shared the Bigfoot costume call as Halloween humor. His reputation for cryptid beliefs was established. Mental health services were offered but refused. The Bigfoot incident became local Halloween legend. 43. A Rhode Island woman dialed emergency services because a haunted house actor touched her shoulder during the attraction. She reported assault and battery. Dispatchers asked about the context of contact. She insisted any touching during haunted house was assault. Police arrived at a haunted attraction with physical actors. The signed waiver clearly permitted light actor contact. She demanded arrest of the actor who touched her shoulder. Officers explained waived consent prevented assault charges. She argued she didn't read the waiver before signing. Police noted signed agreements were binding regardless. She insisted fear negated her consent to contact. Officers explained haunted houses with actors required touch. She demanded refund and prosecution of actor. The attraction manager showed the detailed waiver. Dispatchers logged the complaint as misunderstanding consent. Her claim of assault ignored voluntarily signed agreement. Police explained she'd consented to the exact experience received. She threatened lawsuits over the shoulder touch. Social media defended the haunted house actor. Her reputation for frivolous complaints grew. The attraction added more explicit waiver language. Future guests were warned about physical actor contact. 44. A South Dakota man called 911 because his jack-o'-lantern candle kept going out and he needed help relighting it. He reported a possible gas leak or fire hazard. Dispatchers asked if he smelled gas or saw flames. He insisted the candle extinguishing was suspicious. Fire department was sent expecting actual hazard. Responders found a pumpkin with candle that kept blowing out. The pumpkin design allowed wind to extinguish the candle. He demanded investigation into why his candle wouldn't stay lit. Firefighters explained wind extinguishing candles was normal. He argued Halloween candles should stay lit indefinitely. Responders suggested battery-operated lights instead. She insisted traditional candles were required for authenticity. Firefighters demonstrated how wind worked on candles. He demanded they fix his pumpkin lighting problem. Responders explained they responded to actual fires, not decoration help. She threatened complaints about inadequate fire service. The fire crew was frustrated by frivolous call. Dispatchers noted the waste of emergency resources. His inability to keep pumpkin candles lit wasn't emergency. Firefighters left after confirming no actual hazard. He continued calling about various minor issues regularly. Emergency services flagged his number. Social media mocked the pumpkin lighting emergency call. His reputation prevented taking future calls seriously. 45. And finally, a West Virginia woman called 911 because the Halloween season was ending and she wanted police to extend it somehow. She reported discrimination against Halloween enthusiasts. Dispatchers explained police couldn't change calendar dates. She insisted November 1st arriving was unfair to Halloween lovers. Police explained temporal progression wasn't under their control. She demanded officers stop people from taking down Halloween decorations. Officers explained they couldn't force continued holiday observance. She argued Halloween deserved longer celebration than one day. Police noted holidays ending was inevitable and normal. She insisted her passion for Halloween justified emergency response. Officers explained this wasn't police jurisdiction or an emergency. She demanded police intervention in seasonal transitions. Dispatchers logged the complaint as perhaps the stupidest of Halloween. Her expectation that police could extend holidays was delusional. Officers spent absurd time explaining calendar and seasons. She refused to accept Halloween ending naturally. Police suggested joining year-round Halloween enthusiast groups. She insisted legal action could extend the holiday. Officers left after explaining time's inevitable passage. Her call became legendary among dispatchers as the ultimate non-emergency. Social media shared the Halloween extension demand widely. Her inability to accept seasonal endings seemed psychological. The call exemplified complete misunderstanding of police powers and reality itself, proving that some people think 911 dispatchers are magic calendar wizards who can stop time and extend holidays through law enforcement action, demonstrating that the dumbest reasons people call emergency services on Halloween aren't always about actual emergencies, but rather about people who genuinely believe police can solve literally any problem, including the natural progression of time and seasons, showing that emergency operators deal with more stupidity in one Halloween night than most people encounter in entire lifetimes. These absurd Halloween 911 calls prove that some people have zero understanding of what constitutes an actual emergency requiring police response. What makes these calls particularly infuriating is that each one blocked emergency lines, while people with real emergencies couldn't get through. The lesson is that 911 exists for life-threatening situations and actual crimes, not for enforcing your personal preferences about Halloween celebrations or solving every minor inconvenience. Subscribe if you found these ridiculous emergency calls as frustrating as we did, and remember that 911 is for emergencies only, not for complaining about costumes, candy, decorations, or any other trivial Halloween annoyance.